This is Mr. Gideon, and welcome to AP Econ Online for the summer of 2012 at Chaminade using Blackboard. The first thing that you want to do is use your Net Classroom ID and password to log into Blackboard. Then what you want to do is click on this class, AP Econ Gideon Summer 12. You'll see an announcement here, and you're expected to check both your Chaminade email account as well as the announcements part of Blackboard every day. But right now we're going to go over some of the more important information for the syllabus. The syllabus is found under Class Information. And understand that the syllabus is designed to help you succeed in this class, and some of the information might actually appear on your first quiz. So go ahead and open that now. As you can see in the syllabus, the class starts on Monday, June 18th, and it goes to the middle of the week of July 25th. On the date of July 25th, you'll be expected to be on the campus of Chaminade to take your final exam in person. My email address is listed here, agideon@chaminade.org, and feel free to email me questions that you might have. But another way that you can send questions along is using the first area of the discussion boards on Blackboard, where it says class questions. There are three main goals for the class. One is to introduce you to the field of macroeconomics, which looks at an economy as a whole, not individual businesses per se or decision making by individuals so much as looking at larger trends for an entire country, like inflation, unemployment, and GDP. Another goal for the class is to teach you economic concepts along with analytical skills, which are designed to help you in real life. Finally, we're here to help you score well on the AP Macroeconomics exam given next May. I know that there are several months between the end of this class this summer and next May, but one thing you'll find as you go along is that we have over 100 pages of notes that you'll be able to hold on to after this class, as well as approximately 50 YouTube videos that we call EBTV that you can play at any time to keep the information fresh. We'll also have regular reviews throughout the school year to try to help you prepare for the AP exam. Now, if you're not in the habit of using your Chaminade email address, just as a quick review, I want to let you know that that address is your first initial, middle initial, last name, and year of graduation at chaminade.org. So if your name is John Q. Public, then your address is JQ Public 13 if you graduate in 2013 at chaminade.org. A couple of facets and tools of the class. One is that your Chaminade laptop is really essential for this class because you're going to be required to draw graphs with a stylus before submitting them, and some of the features that are crucial to taking this class using Blackboard are only compatible with your Chaminade laptop. So for instance, using a Mac is not advisable. If you don't have a stylus attached to your Chaminade laptop, you need to get a hold of one. Otherwise, there will be assignments that you will not be able to complete. The textbook for this class is by Krugman, and it's listed on eFollett, but you don't need it. If you haven't bought it, I would recommend not buying it, because there's over 100 pages of interactive notes for this class, and it makes the textbook unnecessary, frankly. There's a total of 18 lessons, so it breaks down roughly to 3 lessons per week over the course of 6 weeks. It's your responsibility to read every assigned lesson in its entirety before beginning any of the assignments for that lesson, and feel free to ask questions as they come up. But we have a routine that you'll get familiar with very quickly that looks like this. For each lesson, we have a few steps. Step 1 is to read the class notes. And within the class notes, there are usually visuals and external links that you may be required to click on that include video or PowerPoints or other kinds of resources. Read those at the beginning of each lesson. Then, for step 2, go to YouTube. There's a series of videos that I call EBTV, which is short for Eagle Business Television. You use this link to do so, and you can see all of the videos for the entire semester on that playlist. But you do need to have a YouTube account, and you have to be logged into your account to see the lessons. But just like with this video, I'll I will have used screen capture technology to walk you through the class notes. And what you might want to do is have that window to YouTube open at the same time that you have another window open for your notes. That way, as things progress through the video, if you want to add to the notes, you can do that. As a matter of fact, I recommend it. It's a way for you to kind of own the notes and make them yours as you go along. After you've gone through the notes and EBTV, and there may be one or several videos on EBTV for each lesson, then you go to the discussion board for that lesson. There'll be a prompt there, and you have to write a detailed response that will be worth points. Once you're done with that, and feel free, by the way, to respond to other people's posts if you want, even though they're not worth points, can still help you. Then you'll go typically to a practice quiz. Practice quizzes are very similar to the actual quizzes, and both of them are worth points. If there's a lesson where you don't have a practice quiz assigned, chances are in place of that you'll have a written assignment where you will have to download a Word document with a prompt and then answer the question, usually having to graph or display some kind of visual in conjunction with your answer, and then save it and then submit it back to Blackboard. But after you're done with either the practice quiz or the assignment, you'll take a quiz. And whereas practice quizzes are untimed and you get to see the answers when you're done, the actual quizzes, which are worth more points than the practice quizzes, are timed, only allow you to have one attempt, and you won't necessarily be able to see the answers right away. As soon as every person in the class takes the quiz, and I have the opportunity to, I'll try to make the answers available to you, preferably before you take whatever unit test might be coming up in the near future. But understand that you can only take the quiz once, and for that reason you want to make sure every time you're starting a quiz, or a test for that matter, you have a reliable internet connection, because if for some reason you get disconnected or you get timed out and you're not able to complete the quiz or the test on time, then that could affect your grade. After several lessons, we'll have unit tests, and these are summative two-parts unit tests that include both a long multiple choice assessment on Blackboard that's graded by Blackboard, usually it's about 60 minutes, as well as a written portion that has free response questions, one or more free response questions. Both of those parts need to be done at the same time, usually within roughly the same 2-hour window. So once you start one part, be ready to do both parts. Both of them are going to be time-stamped. So understand that if you're not able to complete both parts of the test, just like with quizzes, within the allotted time, you will take deductions depending on how late you are in completing the assignments. As I said before, our final step after a few units is the final exam, and that will be done on the campus of Chaminade in person. As you're going through the material, make sure that you plan regular breaks, because there can be some pretty dense material in this class. You should assume that you're going to spend at least a minimum of the regular allotted time for a summer school class, which at Chaminade is 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now obviously you don't have to drive to and from school, but that's 5 hours of class time, plus study time outside of class time. So this can be a very time-consuming class. You need to allot your time wisely. You do not want to wait till the last second before something is due, because inevitably that'll be a way for you not to be able to absorb the material adequately to perform well on the assessments. Understand too that each exam is timed, as I said before, like you were taking it in a classroom setting, and so for that reason you really want to be prepared. It's okay for you to use notes in the class. There's no way for me to prevent you from using notes while you're doing a quiz or a test, but if you rely too heavily on them, chances are as you're digging for answers, time will elapse more quickly than you anticipate. So you really want to be prepared and only go to the notes that you have saved if you're in a pinch. Otherwise, it's easy to run out of time. Also, don't email me assignments. You have to submit them through Blackboard. If for some reason you email them to me and make that mistake, there will be a deduction. All of the things that you submit to me should be through the Blackboard interface. Let's talk a little bit about points and grading. This is a class that's graded on the total points basis, and since we have 18 lessons, approximately this is the point breakdown. Every time you do a discussion board entry, it's worth 5 points. So 5 points for each entry times 18 entries is 90 points. Practice quizzes and assignments are worth a little bit more. They're worth 10 points each, so times 18 gives you 180 points total. Quizzes are worth more than that. Each quiz is worth 20 points, and so approximately 360 points total for those. We have 4 tests, 3 unit tests as well as the final exam. All of those tests are worth 100 points each. For each of the unit tests, they are non-cumulative, meaning the second unit test and the third unit test do not directly test you on material from the earlier tests, but they are cumulative for the entire unit and all the lessons contained within that unit. The final exam is cumulative, of course. There will not be one unit test for the final unit right before the final exam, because I feel like that would be a little excessive, but the information from the last unit will be contained in the final exam. Even though we don't have a physical classroom this semester, there are expectations for how you behave online with Blackboard. So please read through these and know that I expect you to comply. Essentially, you want to be professional, and as long as you're doing that, we'll have no issues. In terms of succeeding in this class, since you don't have a physical teacher, reading is really, really important. Being able to read actively, preview a lesson before you begin to kind of get the big picture and then fill in the pieces to the puzzle, and managing your time are really, really important pieces to succeeding with this online class. Also, as it says here, you should be taking notes as you read and adding to the notes to make them your own, as well as paying close attention to pictures, diagrams, tables, sidebars. These things sometimes are the most important part of your notes, as opposed to the text that's been typed out. Especially the graphs. Very, very important when it comes to this class. It's always better to turn in assignments early, especially before taking an exam, than last minute. Because if for some reason you have issues with your internet connection, or there's issues with Blackboard and you're late, you still have to face taking a deduction. When you have a unit test, when you have an exam that's due, you will also have the normal allotment of discussion board entry, quiz, assignment, or practice quiz associated with the last lesson before taking that exam, and so make sure in that case you definitely plan ahead. But all work for whatever lessons are assigned are all the work is due by 11:59 p.m. the last day in a given assignment segment, and I have a schedule here below that I'll go through with you. We have 3 due days each week: Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Once again, late work is not accepted, but you can always submit something early. Work submitted after we've covered a particular section will not be considered for points. However, if for some reason you're late and you want to submit it just to get feedback, then I'm here to help. Your home base for this class is the assignments folder. It is huge. So I want to take you back there momentarily before we go through this schedule. This tab is where you're going to spend most of your life for this class. You go into assignments, click on AP Econ, and you'll see unit by unit that we have folders designed to take you step by step through each one of the lessons. So for instance, Unit 1, you click on Lesson 1, what economics is all about, you'll see the routine that I referred to. The first link is a set of the notes. Once you're done opening, saving, and reading through those notes, you click on this link to EBTV, which always takes you to the top of the same playlist, and then you scroll down to find whatever videos you need. Since it says Watch Tinstoff and Solving Scarcity, when I click on that link, those are the first 2 videos that you see. Sometimes you'll have 1 video to watch, sometimes you'll have 2, you might have 5 or 6. So make sure that you plan your time accordingly so that you can get all the studying and the assessments done on time. But whenever we have a new lesson, Whatever videos that are assigned will be on this list, and you scroll down to find the ones that you need. When you're done with that, you'll go to the discussion boards. You can click on a link that's provided in the folder, or you can just go over to the discussion boards. It takes you to the same spot either way. You find the discussion board that is pertinent for that lesson, and you answer the prompts. Then you'll either have a practice quiz or you'll have an assignment. Whatever is due for that class will not only be shown in the syllabus, as we go back there in a minute, you'll see it, but it'll be sitting there for you in the folder. So the practice quiz or the assignment will be completed right here, and then you'll do the actual quiz. When you're done with an entire unit, you'll see within the unit folder a place for the unit test, and that's where you'll do both the multiple choice questions and the written portion of the exam. Both of those are timed. So that's the routine. And here's the schedule. You'll notice that even though we start on Monday the 18th, on Tuesday by 11:59 p.m. the 19th, you have 2 lessons that are already due. I think it's better to double up on lessons earlier in the semester rather than right before the final exam. And so in the first week we do that twice so that we can get to a rough average of doing 1 lesson every due date thereafter. So on Tuesday, June 19th, you have to get all the work done for both lessons 1 and 2. For Thursday, June 21st, it's only lesson 3, and you'll notice in that case that there is an assignment due rather than a practice quiz. On Sunday, we have lessons 4 and 5. And then from thereafter, we've got 1 lesson for every due date on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. You'll see as an example for Thursday, July 5th, that here fiscal policy test, exam number 2, is going to be due, but also in conjunction with that due date, you have to go through lesson 10. So once again, it's important to manage your time. And as we get down to the bottom of the list, you'll see that lesson 17 is due on Sunday. That Tuesday, or the following Tuesday, the last lesson is due, and the very next day is your final exam at Chaminade. So glad to have you aboard. I hope you enjoy this semester. There are some pretty fun and interesting resources that I've got available for you throughout the course of the next 6 weeks. And please don't hesitate to email me or pose questions in the class questions part of the discussion boards if you have any. But thanks, and I look forward to a great semester.